It's the last set of the day, boys. Me and Toli gonna finish it out here. It's gonna be Eager taking on eLevate. Eager at 4 and 2 right now. eLevate coming in at 2 and 4. I believe eLevate took out Kingdom, so I believe so. So their only wins coming off of the bottom team who hasn't been able to take out anything. This is gonna be a true test for them.
They had Most Wanted and Soar previously, losing to those two teams. Pretty rough. Now they're going to be faced against Eager, who are coming off a win against Noble. So we're going to see how eLevate have adapted to Eager.
And, I mean, Noble playing pretty well. I think they were probably playing at a higher level than they had expected this week, but clearly a team on the rise. So something that I think Eager can hold pretty well for finding wins against them here. Let's get into P's and B's here for game one, though, and see who comes out on top.
So Eager, more than likely, the way they've played their last set against Noble, they've really had a lot of success in the Hunter position, the way they ran the Cupid the first game against Noble. So more than likely, we might see them go for that again.
Yeah, I mean, it's AirCougar, man. I mean, Zatman learned from AirCougar.
Some say.
He steals everything from AirCougar.
Some say it wasn't really Zatman that made Worlds.
Listen, AirCougar played Jablanque, and then guess who played Jablanque after? Zatman. No one was picking him up. Then AirCougar played Cupid, and then Zatman played Cupid. Just copying everything. He's just copying everything.
AirCougar made Worlds.
And Zatman
still
didn't.
Not yet to make Worlds.
Ever. No, I'm just kidding. Picks advance, Alquang, Raijin taken away by Eager, so just focusing on those top tiers and eLevate, gonna hit some of the more CC-oriented characters, Athena and Thor. And the Cabrakan locked in, and I think that Vanguard buff has pushed him into first pick material.
Dwurst gonna try to extend early game advantage. More than likely, the way all these Cabrakan players have been playing, it's been consistent in terms of picking up Mark of the Vanguard, picking up the purple pot as well, and trying to deny as much gold under the tower as possible. eLevate in response, Guan is open for the first time in probably forever. Gonna get locked in.
You can see the stats on the side of your screen for those who aren't aware how it works. The team has picked it up 0 time, won 0 times with it, and in the entirety of the SCL picked up 3 times. I guarantee you he was banned in every single other game if he's not picked up. I mean, he's just so strong. He's 90% plus pick and ban rate right now.
So on top of the Guan Yu, it's going to be the Susano as well. Going to have a little bit of mobility there in the jungle side of things. Eager trying to respond now. Could potentially look for something to synergize with this Cabrakan ultimate, or something that'll be really good at diving the backline. Going to be an Odin.
Well, speaking of diving the backline, a complete counter to both Guan Yu and Susano not only negates any healing or any ability for Guan Yu to get out, but also negates the ability for Susano to get out, and they're going to pair it with the high burst mage, Scylla.
The Cabrakan ultimate with a Scylla crush should be good with a
like not even the ultimate, right?
Yeah,
just a crush. Also locks him in to make it easier to hit that Sikkim.
The Tremors. It's good synergy.
I mean, you just... See, that's unfair, because you just pick Cabrakan, you say anyone who has a circle synergizes with him.
Yeah.
Which is like every character.
Pretty much.
Everyone's got at least one circle.
Chronos going to get locked in for eLevate. We haven't seen Chronos in a while, especially in the console league side of things.
Yeah, I mean, he was pretty heavily touted at the beginning of the season, and he's just kind of one of those characters that, you know, individually... players can just perform very well on him. He's got a pretty high skill cap, you know, managing his passive as well as, you know, switching between auto attacks and, you know, ability usage, and not all of his stuff is super easy to hit.
I like the idea that eLevate has to pick it up before this early on, because you don't really know if that's going to go into the dual lane or the mid lane.
And bans are through. Lots of hunters taken off the board. Neith and Hoyi from Eager, and then Jablanque by eLevate. They're also going to take out Hunbat, so they're happy with the Susano. They've already taken out Thor, so take out one of the other top-tier junglers.
So eLevate with the next pick. They're going to lock in the Anhur, so could also be an Anhur in the mid lane. Some teams have began to run that, specifically against certain mages. You're trying to play very aggressive in that lane with a throwing dagger, with the red buff as well. It's very easy for you to outclear the mage as a result.
Yo, I'm totally down for Cupid here. This is, like, great, right? Lock down the Susano, lock down the Anhur's jump.
Trying to match the sustain of the Guan Yu.
Do it. Hit it, AirCougar. Give me a Cupid. C-U-P-I-D. C-U.
It's a different hunter with a C. It's going to be the Chiron. Going to have some good long-range snipes potentially, not allowing him... Doesn't have to overextend in a team fight to still get off his damage.
And final pick going to be coming up for eLevate here. They're looking for their solo laner more than likely, or a support, and it's going to be a solo laner. So Guan, you support. The Ravana going to be going all the way to match up against the Cabrakan, something that we've seen go in the Cabrakan's favor so far today.
The Ravana can't really contest the lane this early on before his damage comes online. So the way the Tremors works is he's going to be able to clear the whole wave, while the Ravana is only going to be able to clear the archers and then has to go back to the melee. By the time he goes back, it's going to be going under his tower.
And we'll see how Dwurst versus Owen is going to go. So it is Owen. So that's interesting. So I was told Owen was not going to be on this team.
By Mr. Paul.
By Mr. Paul in his interview.
He's back.
He's back from PC.
He's back from the PC. Just taking a little break that last week.
I don't think, he's riding a car. How have I never noticed that before?
You've never seen that
I've
before?
never like noticed it, like the back animation.
I think
we're not supposed to watch people back.
I think Allied made a video one time with just the Cabrakan backing, and then him just laughing the whole time.
So good. Let's do it again. Can we rewind? No.
Production saying no.
Of course not. Of course not.
All right. I'm trying to spot the shenanigans. I don't really see anything.
That's what we do now, totally. We just spot the shenanigans at the beginning of the game. Cabrakan there, he's got his power potion. He's only got 3 potions because of that, so you do have to worry a little bit about getting poked out as this Cabrakan, but it's really about just having that early game pressure that can't be matched.
Especially against with a Ravana, he doesn't have the sustain early on. He could potentially build that passive shield potentially, but you don't really want to be auto-attacking against the Tremors.
And they're going to be clearing out here. Nothing too crazy, no invades coming out. Dwurst just going to be able to get his blue buff successfully. The question is, where are these junglers going to be going? The Odin going to be walking over. We didn't really talk about the Odin jungle too much. But it'll be interesting to see how he works up. I guess he's going to be fighting the Susano, who's his direct counter often.
A lot of damage already at level 2 onto top of Paul. Paul not getting any of the experience on the right side mid-Harpies. However, now with that jump being down, eLevate can potentially take advantage of these lefts.
I mean, they got to go now, though, right? And Myflin, it looks like he's deciding on where to go. He's only level 2. If he hits level 3, I mean, he can just fight. And, I mean, he's going to do a lot of damage to this Chronos, too.
He's going to force Marine. Oh, wait, that's a first blood.
Oh, absolutely baited. Freya just outplaying Marine, and now Myflin's rotated in, but his jump was down. And Paul actually was able to juke it out to begin with.
Catching the... and pulling Myflin as well. So he found the third ability, making sure that he was going to be able to teleport it, also reducing the cooldown, doing a lot of damage despite being only level 2, and finding the first blood. Taking away the purple pot from the Scylla is going to allow Paul to just control this mid lane.
And Chronos already can control it pretty well. Left-hand side, Zachsy getting poked out pretty significantly. Jellly does have meditation, so they have that fallback on their heal. And Delta Marine, I mean, he just came back from base and he's already half. So, I mean, the poke's still going in favor of eLevate.
I like what Stormy did also, dashing through the Bacchus, getting minion aggro, grouping up the minions by the archers, allowing him to use Tallow Assault on the hallway for the maximized efficiency clear.
It's just those small things that, I mean, like, are so important. You see the same thing with Athena's Delta Marine. Oh, trouble for him, and he's died again! 2 minutes in, 2 deaths on the board.
And that's something that eLevate is going to consistently take advantage of, the fact that the purification is not used by the Scylla. I thought it was used early on, but apparently not. So... doesn't even matter. The damage is just too much for the Scylla to handle.
Does he even have his escape leveled up, or did he like feel like he?
I heard her use it.
So just CC'd though, couldn't get it off, and I mean this is going to be really bad for Eager. They have no pressure now, especially considering you're an Odin and you're behind your opponents. I mean, you thrive at being ahead and being the aggressor.
Like, when Odin will jump in, he's going to be engaged on immediately after. So Eager have to concede the mid lane completely. And now eLevate control the map. They're going to invade these back left Harpies, already level 5 onto Freya and Paul. And if I'm Eager right now, I have to be very careful with my position. I have to ward not only the mid, just to see where the rotation is happening for eLevate, but also early on passively in my own jungle.
And I mean, you can see Delta Marine. I mean, he's got to be so scared at everything right now. And Myflin even just getting a little bit of extra poke there. Hit by the time stop. Freya gonna pull. Not gonna be able to kill Delta Marine, but I mean, 60. What was that? Like 60% of his health?
Something like
66%.
that. And immediately, Delta Marine have to always be careful about the way the initiation happens from Freya. It's very obvious. He uses the third ability just to get the pull and then gets off his damage, and right away. Marine's almost dead.
Yeah, I mean, Marine's going to have to position himself so carefully from now on. Left-hand side, though, the battle is still raging on. AirCougar taking a decent amount of poke, but he's going to be peeled off by Jellly. Meditation still not used, and that's something Jellly still has to stay alive, but he needs to use it now before he gets stunned, and too late.
Just like that, Jellly not having his belly flop available to him. It was a nice counter aggression from eLevate, making sure they utilized the slow from the Guan Yu cavalry charge with the damage from the Anhur ultimate.
And not only are they winning in that mid jungle, now they're winning in duo. So it's stripped red buffs, stripped boars, and Eager continue to fall behind. Already a 1K gold lead for eLevate, 3 kills.
Trying to extend their lead even further. Right side mid Harpies, however, does go in the favor of Eager. Lefts haven't been a little bit delayed because of that first blood. Typhoon being used. Delta. Another death for Delta. That's the third one. Purification was used as well.
I loved what Freya did there. He didn't start with the pull. Instead, he just did the knockup because the knockup can't be CC'd after you're in there, and that's exactly what we saw from Delta Marine. Knocked up in the air. By the time he landed, there was too much damage.
And now Eager with a huge deficit. They have to be so careful in the mid lane. Just these two gods. The Bacchus was right around the corner, but it didn't matter because of just how fast the burst damage from eLevate comes.
Honestly, this somehow isn't the absolute worst position they could be in, right? The Scylla is only a level behind, and gold-wise, she's only 400 behind. Considering she's died 3 times in 4.5 minutes, like...
She also lost her purple pot.
Okay.
That's pretty rough.
Never mind. Let me go back on that statement. That's really bad.
And the Purification is on cooldown, so eLevate's probably going to try to take advantage of that. Left side mid Harpies is being started. It looks like AirCougar trying to maybe steal this.
I mean, AirCougar has to do something right now because everyone else is getting pressured out. If they just allow eLevate to continue to climb, it'll be really risky for Eager. They still do have, I mean, really good team fight centered around kind of that Odin, Bacchus, Scylla. So, I mean, they have that to rely on.
And the Cabrakan as well. The ultimate, making sure nobody's going to be able to get away from that. The Cabrakan does have a 2-level advantage, more aggression from Freya. Jump from Myflin. Myflin's going to be forced to use his ulti defensively. Going to get poked out in the process as well.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. I guess he thought miscommunication from the team. I mean, Scylla's ultimate was up. Same with Intoxicate from Bacchus. So maybe they were looking for the fight, but the rest of the team didn't want to do it, and Myflin kind of forced to use his ult there.
Eager trying to take advantage of the Anhur potentially, but respecting the MIA calls, just going to disengage, as well as Marine recognizing that too many members of eLevate is in the solo lane side jungle. Regrouping in the mid lane now is both teams. Looks like Eager is rotating to the middle. No, it looks like AirCougar's going his back lefts.
They're trying to make something happen at this point, and AirCougar going to have to turn his attention. Jellly's ultimate is up, but his escape is down. And Myflin, there's the reset. Delta Marine finds his first kill for the team here, looking for another follow-up, but there's no stun potential and just going to turn his attention to the minions, and that's why you always have to worry about Scylla.
It was a nice idea that Freya had, trying to knock up the Bacchus. Unfortunately, the burp happened at the same time as the Typhoon, so you cannot get knocked up during the burp, and as a result, Jellly survives, and Eager find the return kill onto eLevate.
That was a very important return kill, and now the gold lead less than 1,000 here. eLevate still up significantly, but the mid lane gold is actually identical, 3,800 for both. Obviously that purple pot is down, but it's really this Susano with the 700 or 800 gold lead directly.
And the Susano with the top of the player damage chart at 3,200. He's still trying to make the plays happen. Unfortunately, wasn't successful on the Bacchus. He just needs to stick on the Scylla, especially considering the fact that he got her Purification down earlier, but instead switched targets to the Bacchus.
Yeah, and I'm really surprised that eLevate aren't actually looking to push into the jungle and try and continue to invade. They do need to be careful about, you know, just having that massive lead and then just playing super passively because of it.
They got the red buff earlier on. It could be another point of contention that eLevate looks to exploit, especially considering the fact that they have the Guan Yu, which is more important in teamfights than a Bacchus would be. So Freya going to look to possibly invade the blue buff instead. And switching things up.
Yeah, and this is going to be pretty clean here. The rotation is coming in, so the squad's going to have to rotate out, and Freya and Paul will make it away in time and get the fire elementals in addition to that.
Right side mid Harpies did fall earlier on. Lefts are respawning, and it looks like Eager are positioning themselves for it.
And they're trying to set up here. The rotation's coming in, so this could be a 3-on-3 fight. Oh, actually a teleport from Owen on the side, and this is going to be a full-on fight by eLevate. They want the Gold Fury, too.
The Odin cage was used defensively, making sure that nobody can get in position to dive Eager. So with this rotation, it's going to allow Dwurst to get a solo wave or two potentially, as long as eLevate can potentially get this. Eager needs to somehow snipe this.
Yeah, I mean, Dwurst, I mean, he still has his teleport, but he's taking a long time. Jellly jumps in, he's able to steal it. Eager get the Cold Fury somehow, and now they're doing so much damage. Stormy in the back line trying to run out. Jellly looking at Owen, who's forced to ult, but it's just Dwurst there to turn his attention, find the stun, lock him in as well. Trimmer should be good, nowhere to go. And Eager, they get the gold theory, they get a kill, and looking really good now with the gold lead.
That's exactly what they needed to do to make sure this game wasn't going to be slipping from their grasp. And with that player advantage, they were thinking about maybe pushing the mid lane, but speed buff has been spawning for eLevate, spotted out by Dwurst, might call it out for his teammates. He's not necessarily going to start it by himself, but just relaying the information.
And he's going to see the blue buff as well. Might try and sneak that away while the rest of eLevate are looking at the speed. And he is, and Freya not going to know what's going on.
He doesn't hear or see the tremors from a distance, and with that, Dwurst is going to get the blue buff away from Owen, so that's going to allow the laning phase to be a little bit better for the Cabrakan.
That's such an, I mean, that was such an interesting strategy by eLevate, right? Like they got 3 kills onto the Scylla in the first 4.5 minutes, and instead of trying to use that to invade buffs, they instead try and force a gold theory, but they didn't pick anyone off, and it was right in front of Eager and into a Bacchus. No one zones, right? They just took a 5-on-5 at the gold theory.
There's a lot of gods on the side of Eager that have potential to steal objectives. You have the Scylla, the Crush, the Alma Monster, the Odin Bird Bomb combination, the Bacchus Intoxicate, that snipes from AirCougar. So I wouldn't potentially make that call if I was eLevate. I would just keep looking for the little things in this position.
And because of that, though, Eager now have completely neutralized everything, even with a very slight gold lead. But it's not the end for eLevate, right? They're still good, right? They still have some pretty good team fights. They still have Susano, who's been playing pretty well, and the Chronos translates to late game as well.
They have a lot of damage on board. They just need to utilize it in the right way on the same target, the one that's most vulnerable, which is Delta Marine. They've utilized it well in the beginning. Now they need to find ways to extend that out and build off of that foundation.
And you can see Freya getting poked there. That's something he's got to worry about, those roots from Scylla as well as the Odin. He always has to be aware, because if he gets caged in or locked down, I mean, he's still a squishy assassin.
Yep, dual lane, a little bit of a poke, favoring AirCougar. Zachsy, more than likely going to try to play aggressive with the Guan around the corner.
Oh. Paul managing to get out of the crush, but trouble for Freya. Locked in the cage, can't do anything. Myflin gets the last hit, and now he's fallen twice now. So that lead he had is being whittled away. Only 300 separating the junglers now.
Not having the jet stream used before the Odin cage is why there was no disengage. And now Zachsy in a little bit of trouble, forced to jump into his own tower, going to get double jumped on by Myflin and Bacchus, so that's going to be a kill onto Eager. Eager bouncing back. They were down 4-0, and now Eager has tied it up.
This is just an experienced team, right? This is just Eager, who have been playing at the highest levels for so long, right? They didn't get down on themselves, and they knew exactly what they needed to do. All that happened was eLevate made a single mistake trying to force that Gold Fury, and quickly after the steal, I mean, Eager are looking great. And I love what AirCougar did there for that fight as well. He used his escape, right? He used the charge to knock back Anhur, and that means whenever Anhur finally jumped, everyone would be in the range to follow up and chase him. And that's exactly what we saw under tower. Just such intelligent play from this team.
And the player damage on the side of Jellly, the top player damage, the Bacchus support. Jellly just taking the red buff, casually walking away.
Come on, man. You just
casually
I mean, Bacchus
walking
swings.
Away. And now he's going to swing that much harder with a red buff at this stage.
He has, like, no magical power. 72.
He has his passive. It gives you magical power.
Yeah. And he's going to be working on an Urchin, too. So a little bit of fighting going on. So he should be able to stack that relatively easy. Dwurst, maybe a little bit of trouble here against Owen. He's pretty low, but he doesn't feel like he's going to fall. Not backing just yet. He does have his TP.
He wants to try to bait Owen to attack him under the tower, get some tower shots onto Owen, which would have allowed him to kind of come back in with both teleports being online. It's going to favor Owen here because the Cabrakan's going to have to back now. Owen can still try to trade a little bit of poke and then back maybe in a wave or two.
And, I mean, then that Gold Fury is going to be respawned again at that point. So, I mean, Owen, if he can save his teleport for the next big fight, We saw him actually teleport in incredibly early last time, right? Because that's what happened, is that it seemed like there was going to be a fight at those mid-harpies, and then the Odin cage came out after Owen had teleported, and then they just like, well, we're all 5 here, let's kind of just start it.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a forced engage for eLevate, unfortunately. They could have disengaged and just play a little bit more carefully, waiting for the right opportunity. They didn't have to fully commit. They could have reset it around 25%. They have one person zoning. They didn't need to put all 5 members DPSing because nobody contested this Bacchus.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that was the decision making, right? It's like we've rotated Owen over. We see Cabrakan in that soul lane. Like, he's going to get so far behind unless we could force the Cabrakan to teleport. And it just obviously didn't work out for them.
Hindsight. Going back in. Jellly now hitting level 12, looking like he wants to flop onto somebody. Vision control does favor eLevate a little bit on the top left side. Mid-Harpies did get spotted out. A lot of passive sentry wards for eLevate around the dual lane side, making sure, especially considering the fact that there is no more tier 1 tower, these wards are very crucial for eLevate.
Yeah, because you really need to know if someone's rotating in, especially if you're Zachsy. And, I mean, AirCougar is going to be the one rotating in. Guan, though, I mean, starting to hit kind of a pretty good level where StormyRays is just going to be able to spam that conviction heal, keep everyone healthy. That's something that you always have to be aware of, right? It's just kind of that out-of-combat healing. If you get into a poke war against this Guan Yu, I mean, it's just going to go in his favor.
Something we didn't talk about is the different builds coming out of these hunters, going for a more Fatalis Devil Gloves effect for AirCougar.
We're going to see Zatman pick this up soon.
It's going to happen.
He's going to steal it. Yeah, that's interesting. So a little bit more lifesteal. And also the Fatalis effect. I mean, AirCougar just wants to kind of chase people down. Actually, he's going no boots. That's what he's doing. He's going no boots.
He wants to get off as big of a power spike in the mid-game as possible. With the jump from Myflin, there's going to be an engage onto StormyRays. Nice belly flop. Odin cage as well. Cavalry charge being forced defensively. Typhoon going through the Odin cage, doing a lot of damage.
And now the rewind coming out. I'm a monster way off the mark. Actually hits into the wall completely. Delta Marine is not having a good game. Going to get stunned out. Chased down as well. Sanctuary going to keep him alive. Sentinel is not up just yet. Doing everything he can to juke. And there goes the meditation. Just able to get over that red buff wall. But AirCougar's left alone and isolated as well. Trimmer's doing so much work right now in favor of Eager, but Owen finally locks down the Chiron.
First pick, second pick now into the favor of eLevate. They're slowly coming back in. Scylla was picked off yet again, and now Myflin a little bit low. He does have his jump available, but no shield and speed buff, so he should be able to get away. However, the rest of eLevate looking for the Bacchus.
But they're taking a long time to kind of chase down these kills. Jellly is going to fall eventually, and this should be a Gold Fury. We saw the double back come through. Teleport is available for Dwurst in 5 seconds. If he wants to contest, he's going to have to get it now, and he doesn't have an ideal ward.
It's going to be very close. I'm looking for the ward. It's going to be on the red buff. It's going to take a lot of time for him to actually get in position, but it looks like he's electing not to teleport over, just going to concede that. Meanwhile, Owen trying to extend the advantage by stripping the red buff away from Eager. This is a nice mentality after the Gold Fury. When you're a soul laner at this stage, at this level, you have the potential.
Yeah, and I think this is definitely kind of a safe steal, right? You may not be able to come out on top and get it, but you don't have to worry too much, and it seems like Delta Marine will have his own red buff thanks to Myflin.
So Gold Fury going in the favor of eLevate. They're up a little bit of gold. They were up a little bit more earlier on. They could have extended it, but that earlier Gold Fury, now they're being a lot cleaner than the last time around.
Yeah, and now 17 minutes in, relatively, I mean, this game is pretty even, right? I mean, this isn't a massive lead, and neither team can kind of find that massive lead. It's really been back and forth fights, but I mean, that fight was interesting, right? Eager were the aggressors, but then they kind of just got split up, and Owen doing so much in the engagement, chasing down the individual targets and securing the kills one by one. And then I know Delta Marine made it out, but then I guess he came back into the fight trying to help out his team escape. And
he tried to min-max during that team fight. Also, Owen doing a good job zoning and isolating AirCougar away from that team fight, forcing Sanctuary from both the Scylla and the Chiron, just doing a good job of being a typical soul laner, diving that backline.
And we'll see if Delta Marine can have a little bit of a better game. He does have his Doom Orb stacked up, only needs 8 more here. Has Dynasty Plate Helm to be a little bit more tanky against that Robin. And his boot, so hasn't gone into anything else. Second relic going to be Sanctuary, so just more survivability for him.
So we have a little bit of a slap fight in the soul lane as usual. Both members are level 16. Owen still going to be aggressive. Meanwhile, on the dual lane side, just going to find a little bit of poke on Jellly, but if there's a root, not going to find the root, going to be nice jet stream disengage from Freya.
And looking at relics, though, We actually have double blinks coming online for Eager, so their Odin and Cabrakan going to be kind of those backline dive tools. And all of their team fighting relics are both on the Bacchus, so like if he falls or if he's separating from the team, that could be bad for him. Like if it's weird because you have 3 really hard engagers in Cabrakan, Odin, and Bacchus. And so is one of them going to be dedicated to peeling for Delta Marine?
It has to be somebody.
Especially against a Guan.
If you don't have Bacchus, then it's going to be very risky. Unless, like, late game damage, you're going to have just the damage is going to be your self-heal.
I mean, maybe that's it. A jet stream going to be strong in a Typhoon. Great cage by Odin. Should be able to keep Eager Jellly alive, and he's going to make it out barely. Dwurst coming in from the top side. This could be trouble here. And he's going to find Paul, who's bursted, and he can't get the rewind off. Eager hits the long-range air shots as well. Freya takes out Cougar under the tower, and now Dwurst locking 2.
But it doesn't matter because there's nobody else to follow up. Owen just going to casually walk on out. The fact that eLevate, oh, nice juke from Freya, just going to disengage, but he was so greedy wanting to find more return damage onto Marine, and he's going to fall. I
mean, I think that's because the I'm a Monster, like, just hit exactly where it was. It pushed him back into Dwurst, and he just bursted him there. And another fight going Eager's way. Dwurst just finding the Chronos in the backline, 100-0ing him.
It favored eLevate in the beginning because they forced out the Bacchus and the Scylla, but the way Eager coordinated, like you mentioned, killing Paul before the ultimate even went off is what allowed Eager to win the rest of the team fight, trading 2 for 1.
And now with this advantage, they're going to be pressuring this tier 1 tower. There goes the 3-man dive squad. They're looking for Zachsy, who's going to jump away, but Delta Marine was left alone and isolated by himself. Early Sanctuary, there's a good knockup from Jellly. There's the cage as well, and Owen, no ultimate available. He should fall.
The crush not going to connect onto Owen. Owen's just buying a lot of time, and now Jellly might be turned on right now.
Paul's
using
back.
his curse as the cavalry charge. Going to stun out Jellly, a lot of damage, but he's buying a lot of time for the rest of his team to re-engage, and the crush doing so much damage.
Myflin takes out 1, and now the attention's turned. Guan Yu very low. If Stormy can reset, he can get the heals off, but AirCougar doesn't want to give it up. There it is, though, the disengage as Freya's come back in, and this fight has gone on so long, back and forth in this mid lane, that the players that died first respawned and got kills of their own.
Both of these teams sort of not respecting the respawn timers from the other, and with that, it's going to just be another wash. Both teams just going to wait a little bit for Gulfir to respawn. However, Freya stole the speed buff away from Eager.
Oh, nice little cheeky steal. You could see Myflin was kind of around in the jungle, but couldn't secure it himself, and Myflin right now, level 16, 3-0-4. Freya just hitting level 16, so not too much of an experience difference, but Freya definitely has that gold lead off of that Gold Fury.
And I love his build with the Void Shield, making sure that him and Owen is going to be the 2 targets that you want to have dive the back line. There's just not much you could do to peel a Ravana that has the overhead kick available to him, especially with the mobility coming out of Susano as well.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned the Void Shield, you mentioned those 2, but I mean, that's going to be super useful for, you know, all of the team, just reducing those physical protections. There's 4 physical. Paul is the only magical damage, which means it is going to be relatively... And this is actually pretty good for Eager. I mean, if they just focus on that physical defense, the thing about Chronos is he can't really kill everyone at the same time like a Scylla or a Ryzen can. He doesn't really have all that AoE burst. It's really about picking one person and single targeting them out. Like, if you just ignore magical protection unless you're a support, I mean, you could just itemize strictly into physical.
You have to watch out against the late game accelerate from a Chronos. He will shred you very quickly. Once he does have his items fully finished, then he's just going to shred away even your support. Even if you have 2 magical defense items, there's just the damage from his in-hands on the 4th tick of his accelerate.
And you could see AirCougar and the Eager squad here looking at this Gold Fury, trying to bait someone in for a fight, but quickly back off. They have Dwurst over on the right-hand side. And they've actually, Owen's teleport's down, so once again, eLevate, they're going to be forced to start this.
And members from Eager are going to be flooding in. There is a teleport coming online from Dwurst.
Oh,
Odin
Myflin.
cage.
Oh, he's found, wait, no, it got canceled? Oh, apparently it didn't go off, and there's the I'm a Monster. Delta Marine finds one, looking for a second. He gets the damage off, but not enough for a second reset, and here comes StormyRays diving. Delta Marine able to get the Sentinel off. No one can finish him, and Cabrakan doing everything he can to peel.
And with that, the snipes from AirCougar are good, but the jump secures the kill onto StormyRays. So far, it's been a 2-0 in the favor of Eager, yet again, forcing eLevate to force the Gold Fury and then taking full advantage of it.
And look at this, just the dive coming in. You can see on full retreat is eLevate. Owen's the last one left standing in the middle of 4. Freya's making the rotation back in, but I mean, Owen's already fallen, and now he's just kind of walked into his own death if he's not careful. He has the speed, though, and he has the jet stream, so he'll be able to get out. And that Odin cage actually, I was so confused, but it was actually, I think, destroyed by the Gold Fury, because she destroys objectives. I was so lost. I'm like, wait, what?
That's very true. The objectives, Gold Fury and the Titan, does destroy the player deployables, such as Odin Cage, Cabrakan ult, even the Anhur and the Thor walls.
And now Eager have once again taken the lead in their favor, 3,400 gold. So eLevate gonna have to answer back. Still 10-8 in kills in favor of Eager as well. We're 23.5 minutes into this one. Freya trying to steal the speed buff, but Delta Marine smells it out. Actually, Delta Marine wants to get aggressive here. He saw the jet stream, but couldn't read it in time.
It's going to be very difficult to catch up with the mobility from Freya. Now, in this last team fight, Paul gets picked off yet again during the ultimate, but his positioning when he was using it, he was right in the front line. He needs to be a little bit more back, especially when you have such an aggressive team comp the way eLevate does have.
And there is that risk versus reward, right? Where as a Chronos, you can go super aggressive and like try and bait everything onto you and then rewind. But if it doesn't pay off, I mean, it could just be the end of it for your team, right? And it's especially weird considering eLevate have that Guan Yu, right? Where they kind of want to get into poke wars, right? They don't want this, you know, kind of burst. They don't want the burst fight that Eager's looking for.
And the thing is, Delta Marine, he's going to be waiting to use I'm a Monster during the rewind because you have that window of a stationary target to confirm the damage. And at this point, level 18 with red buff on the Scylla, that's going to take away more than half of the health from Paul.
And Delta Marine, I think he had a pretty rough early game, but I mean, he's been doing really well in the latest fights. AirCougar going to be trying to find this on her, but Zachsy should be out of range. There's Fatalis and Oboe for AirCougar. So he's got, you know, that 18% movement speed from Boots, but there is Boots plus the movement speed from Golden Bow for Zachsy. So he's going to be still faster.
Just trying to find any sort of poke that he can in the duo lane. Meanwhile, Owen trying to return the favor by pushing the soul lane, but with the proxying coming from Dwurst, he's not going to be able to have the wave with it. So if he wants to get that soul lane tower, he's going to have to go without a wave. And
we're going to have a quick pause here as we get back into the game shortly. I mean, what I'm looking at right now is probably Myflin. I mean, his cages have been really well placed and well timed throughout this game.
Especially considering the fact that eLevate have an all-in composition with the Guan Yu, the Susano, and Ravana. The way they're playing it is just being completely negated by this Odin.
Would you say they want to all in though? Because they have the Guan Yu, but they also have the Guan Yu heals. Guan Yu is like one of those like hybrid styles where you can kind of play however you want.
You could, but the way eLevate's been playing it, it's just pure aggression. It's very difficult to disengage your style sometimes when you get into this certain mindset.
And Myflin, once again, going to find 3, and there's the knockup from the Typhoon, trying to stop that aggression that Eager's doing, and a good pullback, and there's going to be 2 under the tower. Meanwhile, Owen's just dealing with the carries in the backline. AirCougar is going to be able to escape, and now he's looking at Delta Marine, but quickly turns his attention. Jellly was left alone by Eager under the tower still, and I mean, Owen has just been doing so much on this Robin, right? Just like dealing with all these backline carries, forcing Delta Marine and AirCougar back.
Just zoning out 4 members, allowing eLevate to pick off Jellly in the process. And now eLevate are trying to play super aggressive in the mid lane, having this one-man advantage, having the Guan Yu sustain as well. It's going to keep them into the pushing.
And they should be able to push this tier 2. Delta Marine left to defend, 4 members of Eager all around, and the tier 2 is going to fall, so eLevate closing that gold gap once again. I mean, only less than 2,000 separating the squads, and eLevate just gonna back off, but their team's actually split, and Dwurst is gonna find Paul. He's gonna pop the Sanctuary, but once again, he's gonna be caught inside the ultimate. And AirCougar with the snipes, Delta Marine with the crush, and there goes Paul.
Zachsy's gonna fall as well. That's 2 members down. StormyRays might be the next victim. The sustain is good. The slow from Myflin. The root is good. The tremors forcing the cavalry charge. Just gonna be barely. He gets clipped by Myflin's jump. That's 3 members down. Delta Marine barely able to escape from Freya, so 3-man advantage for the side of Eager.
Jellly's back. The tier 1 is getting pressured here. It should fall. Freya and Owen, the last 2 alive, and one of them is knocked up, and here comes Myflin as well. Jet streams away just barely. Tier 2, no minions, though, to kite it out, so Eager are fully tanking this up. There comes the Intoxicate and the slow for Masterful Shot as well. The Typhoon knocks up Jellly, and he's tanking this tower, and he's got to back off. Owen just running around in circles. He's going to live, but the tower falls, and Eager, once again, back on the gold lead, 5K.
Beautiful response after losing their own tier 2 tower. The way Dwurst, Blink initiated, forced a lot of members to go on the left side of the Cabrakan ultimate, which was then followed up by Myflin's ultimate, and then just the sheer damage from the ultimate of AirCougar and the Rune Crush combo from Marine is what allowed Eager to turn that on its head.
I mean, AirCougar has been on point with his ultimate so far. You can see second in damage right now, only behind his Cabrakan solo laner, 109 Dwurst. Dwurst and Owen, really, I mean, it's kind of been the solo laner day where we've really seen these solo laners kind of dictate the pace of the game.
And it's a lot easier for Dwurst to get into the backline than it is for Owen. Owen has to commit with his ultimate. Dwurst, he can commit with a blink or just utilizing his mobility. He has the wing blade, he has the steroid as well.
And you can see he's level 20, highest level in the game, next to a couple others who have reached that mark so far. Experience difference, not too much, I'd say. Right, the only real differences are being closed onto. Owen's 1 level behind, same with the Chronos. They're about to hit level 20. Supports don't matter. They never do.
How can you say that?
I mean, I played support. They don't. When it comes to levels on support, they don't matter. I played a 60-minute match. Now this is 2013, but like it was like.
Was this during the tank meta?
Still, yes. Oh. The supports still were at level 20 because it was just 5v5 roaming. Oh, get me out. It was against SK. Anyways, Gold Fury started up here. Myflin around the side once again. Stormy. Oh, no. Stormy, or Myflin actually blinked in, but Stormy was already repositioning himself.
Eager going to still force the Gold Fury, trying to get eLevate out of position.
They have Odin Cage.
They have a lot of damage also for this Gold Fury. Crush is being utilized, and that's going to be free Gold Fury, forcing the cavalry charge during the Odin Cage.
Just completely locked in, and then he's going to be knocked up. Here comes the follow-up on the monster. Connects. It's not enough damage to find a kill, but getting Stormy very low. He's trying to heal up, but he can't. The Crush secures it, and now Owen in the middle of those trimmers trying to get out here. Masterful Shot doing as much as it can to slow as Freya actually teleports in, and he's got 3 members pulled in, but it's not enough. No follow-up.
The belly flop secures the Crush onto Zachsy, forcing to use the Sanctuary disengage. Paul finally gets the rewind off, and this could be eLevate's fight with
Freya.
the rewind. AirCougar going to get dunked on by Owen, and now Myflin is going to force to get away. Jelly's in a lot of trouble. He falls. Marine going to
teleport.
The jet stream. It's there. He has the option.
No, but he's so low because Dwurst poked him off, but Dwurst gets turned on as well, and eLevate, I believe, stole the Gold Fury in that whole debacle, as well as finding those 3 kills.
That's a really important kills to find at this stage of the game. This is going to be Fire Giant, level 20 onto the Chronos, level 20 on the Anhur, having the Executioner available to him. So it's going to be able to shred with 4 physicals on the side of eLevate and have an Executioner on your Anhur, and you have the Void Shield on top of your Odin.
And yeah,
I'm sorry, on the top of the Susano.
And now Gold Fury started up. Eager did secure the Gold Fury. Excuse me for saying the opposite earlier. Myflin inside the Fire Giant pit, actually swinging away at Freya, doing so much damage. Delta Marine needs to be careful. He's by himself, and he could get chased down. There's Cavalry Charge, but they're not going to chase out the Scylla. Instead, they're going to be looking at Myflin. Fire Giant is actually stolen.
Too much zoning. They tried to kill the Scylla, and now as a result, eLevate is going to drop the Fire Giant. Beautiful job by Eager, and nobody's going to fall as a response, unless Freya has the mobility, but it is going to get blink response instantly by Myflin.
And they're chasing him. They're fully chasing him. But I mean, this could be detrimental because Eager just following up with the rest of their team rotating in, and Freya, he decides he has to back off now, and he is just going to completely back to base, but the team's so heavily focused on the Scylla that they just ignored Myflin.
They tried to use the Cavalry Charge to secure it, not finding it. However, now Eager controlling the game with the Fire Giant at this stage. Tier 2 towers stand strong for eLevate, but it's going to be very difficult for them to hold it.
Dwurst blinking into the back line, trying to find the stun on Paul, but he can't. Just going to switch it up. And Tier 2, it's going to go bye-bye. Only 1 tower remaining here, but Eager aren't looking for it. They want the Phoenix. They've got Fire Giant. They're 5 members strong. They just all came off of the base, so they've got all their gold in hand spent.
There were maybe 3 points into this game where eLevate was in the driver's seat, and yet again, Eager just says no.
Decision making. Just the decision making seems to not be there for eLevate. They just are making the wrong choices in these critical moments. To be fair, right, if like the fights go or if the objectives go in their way, they have a massive lead, but it just it's allowed Eager to get back into this one. Now aggression, Myflin to the back line, has his cage available, and one knocked up. Stormy so low inside the cage, and here comes the Hama Monster over the top as well. The knockup from Typhoon, and no one's actually fallen yet from eLevate, and they do find a return kill, 2 for 1 in favor of Eager so far. The rewind from Paul is good, and Delta Marine's being chased down. Someone's got a peel for him. Myflin and Jellly are doing everything they can, and Owen's actually body blocked away.
And now Owen is going to jump, finds the kill. He is going to follow with his life. Dwurst falling as well, so it's been a 3-for-3 exchange so far, but the Phoenix still stands strong, which is the most important thing for eLevate.
Huge win for eLevate. There's no way Myflin and Jellly are going to be able to follow up, and they're still a carry alive. Zachsy jumps as actually eLevate are on different targets right now. Myflin going to be stunned out of his dash. Max range, time rift. It's not enough, though. Myflin has the Fire Giant regen, but Paul's a little bit too fast.
And the winning factor for this team fight for eLevate was the fact that Paul yet again got off his rewind before dying. And that last team fight, unfortunately, Hama Monster wasn't on the market, didn't find the reset. So those are the two factors that Eager need. They need to find Paul before the rewind goes off, and they need to connect on Hama Monster to reset it.
They need to figure out what to do about Owen as well. You could see the team, they said, okay, Delta Marine was getting chased down. Now we need to help peel for him. But the problem was that they had Myflin and Jellly go to peel for him, but not only are they not successful because Owen still gets the kill, but they don't even get close to killing Owen until the other members on the top side had already died. Right? Like, Paul is just ripping away at Dwurst, and I mean, Dwurst can't fight the Chronos without his, 100-0 burst.
You just can't have too many members diving the Phoenix, leaving your backline exposed, especially a Scylla late. You need to keep the Scylla alive as long as possible. The longer the team fight lasts, the more efficient it is for the Scylla. And Eager, they got the Fire Giant still, which was really clutch, but they need to work on these sieges along the Phoenix.
Yeah, they didn't really necessarily need to siege the Phoenix either. I mean, they could have just looked for that last tower and then maybe the gold 3 after that. But I guess with the Fire Giant in hand, they didn't want to, risk that. They didn't want to, like, let the game go later than possible. It already is 34 minutes in, and people starting to reach that full build potential.
Gold Fury is being looked at by Eager. Now, they do have good ward control so far. They could force some members from eLevate out of position, but Dwurst isn't quite here yet, so favoring eLevate in a 5v4.
And they're going to find Myflin. They're going to root him out, but he's just going to jump over the wall. He had Raven Shield, so he doesn't take any poke from Owen. Eager
Dwurst
trying
on the
to
top
work
side,
the way in
he's
here.
flanking.
Yeah, by himself. Actually, really by himself.
He's going to fall, that's it.
He is not tanky against that Chronos. And there actually comes the Crush, going to find 2, and StormyRays not going to be able to find anyone else. Good cage from Myflin. We've seen him be on point with those, but it's still a numbers advantage in favor of eLevate as they're slowly pushing Eager back. I mean, even if it's not gold, I mean, this should at least be 2 towers.
And that's
it should be 2 towers and the gold.
They need to catch up gold-wise. They are down just a little bit, about 7,000 gold, 7,000 experience. And something that they also have to be careful about is saving that cavalry charge after the Odin cage has already been used.
I mean, that's the 3rd time we've seen StormyRays just have that completely negated.
He needs to hold on to it.
And now Tier 2 going to be sieged up. Tier 2 going to be finished off. Gold Fury could be looked at, but eLevate, I mean, they still have that man advantage, and there comes the 2-man pool. Force Purification on 2 of the carries. That's massive. And here comes the Typhoon for the knockup in the back line, but Freya can't dive too deep by himself. At the very least, they forced members off of this Phoenix defense.
And now Scylla's forced to disengage. Phoenix is getting at about half health. Odin cage is used. Now this is the time that Guan Yu could potentially go when disengaged by Myflin. Crush is good. Gonna find the pick onto Freya. The snipes from AirCougar trying to do some damage onto Owen. The belly flop, just a little bit off the mark was Delta Marine.
Yeah, I mean, he was trying to line it up, but look at this. Dwurst coming off of his death. He's going to catch Owen. No, just kidding. There it is, the ults, and no ult from Owen, so the return is there. However, the Phoenix does fall. I'd say that's still a win for eLevate, unless Fire Giant is picked up by Eager.
Eager can easily respond with this 2-player advantage, but they need to be very decisive about what they want to do, and they're going to command their troops into the Fire Giant pit, having everyone available. It is going to be the Guan Yu trying to do something about it. We'll see if eLevate could potentially steal this.
I mean, it could be the Odin cage, but it's not up just yet. Still a couple more seconds. You can see the zoning coming out from Myflin in the top side. It's going to be on to StormyRays. His ultimate is available, so I mean, this should be free, right? Just ult right now.
And that's what he's exactly going to do, just going to walk on out, and that Fire Giant is going to go in the side of Eager, unless
No, they're taking so long. The burst
well,
is finally done. Delta Marine got knocked up there, and eLevate back off.
So Eager getting Fire Giant. They did lose the left side Phoenix, so they always have to tend to that lane. And that's something that eLevate could potentially exploit as well. Wait for somebody to defend that left side Fire Waves and then force a 5v4 fight.
I mean, at that point, like, I mean, Eager could probably just push up the Fire Wave instead and look at that. We'll see if that's going to be the case. We've got a quick pause coming out from 37 minutes in. And, I mean, this has just been back and forth, right? The gold separating the teams about 6,000, but everyone's pretty close to full build. Very few towers on the board as well.
And Eager, they, like you mentioned, they're going to have to push the left side to make sure that they're going to counter that left side Phoenix, making sure that eLevate doesn't sneak a 5v4 fight.
It's not easy, though. It's not easy to push a Phoenix that has fire minions coming from it. Like, people really underestimate them.
It's still, there's a lot of damage for Eager. They have Scylla available to them at this stage with Fire Giant. So just like that, Root Crush, gone.
Yeah, but then there's your cooldowns.
That's true.
And if eLevate want to force them, it's just, obviously it's harder, right, compared to the normal minions. And it seems like the team is going to be looking at the left-hand side. No one's splitting the middle, which I'm a little bit surprised at, that they didn't kind of try and split eLevate's forces. But Eager, they're going to try it again. They failed last time miserably. I think it was a 3-for-3 trade, but I mean, that's just, that's beneficial if you're holding.
All it takes is one good Root Crush onto the Ravana, and that's going to be it for him. Yeah,
and I mean, Delta Marine, you know, 1,066 magical power right now. I mean, if he hits anyone with anything,
it's a lot.
Anything. Root, Crush, doesn't matter. I'm a monster, that's going to kill you too.
So even with, like, her breath?
Even with her breath. She probably smells, right? She's always with these dogs. And here comes Eager. Jellly in the front line, going to look for a stun, finds one. There goes the Root Crush, and StormyRays, he's done. He's got to reset or at least heal up. And he's going to go to the fountain. No, he's waffling. He doesn't know what he wants to do. Jellly misses the jump.
Going to get pulled as Delta Marine. A cavalry charge is not going to happen quite yet.
Oh, Freya actually managing to get out. And now it's going to be Owen who can't chase out Delta Marine. And Freya takes out AirCougar, who is left alone up there with Dwurst. Dwurst now getting looked at. There's the jump and the blink, and Dwurst pulled and then pushed away. Zachsy defends.
Two members falling for Eager, and now eLevate back on it again. Defending the left side Phoenix. The Fire Giant means nothing this game currently.
And it doesn't look like eLevate want to allow Eager to back. I'm a monster forced out, and Delta Marine's not even turning around. Impaled into the pillar. Myflin trying to run away. There's the jump here, and he's going to be chased out by Freya as well. The jet stream good enough, and there comes the crush. Freya, he can't keep chasing though. Forced back. 19-19 in kills. It reads just as well as this dead even game.
You just have to be so careful about both of these mages out of the teams. The Chronos doing a lot of damage, whoever gets time stopped. That Scylla finding one combination, that's going to be a lot of your health gone. And eLevate trying to utilize this two-player advantage. This is going to go for the respawn of the Phoenix.
This should be free here. And look at this, Stormy to the back line, just looking for Delta Marine, just trying to force out that Sentinel. It's going to be the Phoenix. That was the only reason for the cavalry charge. The team could look for the middle Phoenix, but they need Freya to regroup with them, I think.
They're just going to go for the Gold Fury now. With Fire Giant still being down, there's no reason for them to try to do anything. There's still two towers on the solo lane side if eLevate want to try to go for that as well.
And Gold Fury not really going to help them too much. I mean, it's kind of just there to get them closer to those 3K pots. Everyone's full build, including the support. The Bacchus has, or excuse me, the Guan just needs that last winged blade. I'm assuming he's going into for the slows.
He just needs to make sure the way he utilized that last engage on left side Phoenix, even though he didn't connect onto the Scylla, forcing her out of the team fights is what's going to allow the rest of eLevate to control their own front line.
Yeah, normally that seems to be Owen's job, where he's the one who's like, I want to kill Scylla, right? That's we could see that visually, that he's always diving Delta Marine nonstop, and most of the time, Delta Marine can't even survive.
And the way Eager's playing this also, having the Divine Ruin on Bacchus, trying to limit some of the healing coming online from Guan.
I mean, there's also the double meditation from eLevate, right? And then Chronos, not really his rewind, but I mean, he gains a little bit of life gain from the Polynomicon. He's got that life steal. Not super effective, but like every little bit that you can negate is going to be super helpful. We've seen these players escape on less than 20 life.
So 41.5 minutes into the game, looking at the healing from the Guan, almost
That's low.
16,000.
That's
at this
really
stage,
low.
it is quite low, but it is against a Bacchus and an Odin.
And yeah, and eLevate aren't really playing. They're kind of playing the all-in style to match Eager instead of the let's siege it up. I guess they don't really have the best poke on their squad to try and get into those poke wars. Fire Giant though has respawned.
The longer this goes, this little standoff, the more it's going to favor eLevate. There's going to be fire waves starting to flood into the left side for Eager, so somebody has to respond.
And it's got to be Dwurst at that point, right? He's got the teleport. Delta Marine started to back, and that's the thing. I think Eager are trying to decipher who they want to defend, and you can see it's not going to be Delta Marine. It is going to be Dwurst. He has that TP to get in, and so there is that man advantage. Owen going to be backing too, but eLevate, I mean, they got to force something now. This is where they have the chance once they see him appear in that lane.
Just going to be very patient, as it looks like Paul is waiting for that red buff to respawn before this next team fight.
I mean, the red buff is really powerful. AirCougar by himself, but Jellly's rotated in, and it's just kind of that poke, right? Any poke you can put out as eLevate is a win.
Just waiting for the red buff, finally taken by Paul. Now he's going to regroup with the rest of his
Freya
team.
backs as well.
Freya backs. He does have speed buff, and with his passive, he should be able to get there relatively quickly. It looks like Paul is backing as well.
And yeah, it seems like eLevate are going to remake their builds. I'm not exactly sure what Freya sold, but I believe he sold his 6-slotted item there for a Spirit's Robe. So just trying to be a little bit more tanky in this next fight.
Especially getting hit by the Cabrakan and potentially followed up with a Scylla. That's going to mitigate a lot of that follow-up damage, which is very important for an assassin such as Susano.
And with those all-ins, right? You get knocked up by Jellly, there comes in a lot of damage. I mean, if a Bacchus intoxicates, that's like kind of the go sign for a team fight. Myflin here, he's going to take a little bit of poke, but the crush stops eLevate from pushing forward. Here they go. Sprint, I believe. Oh, I thought that was pop, but that was just AirCougar's charge. And Eager going to be pushed back here.
Just waiting, going to strip the speed buff away from Eager. eLevate still waiting. They have more fire waves flooding in the left-hand side. The teleport from Dwurst is still available to rotate to this team fight. And now eLevate is going to force the Fire Giant. 2 members are zoning.
This is great. This is great. I mean, those 2 members, Zachsy and Paul, are going to shred through this. You can see 20%. And the Fire Giant's going to go in eLevate's favor, but it seems like the fight has been forced by Eager. They're going to be stunned out. Myflin jumps in, and he needs to do something to get out.
Dwurst isn't even here quite yet either, so that's a huge advantage for eLevate. They secure the Fire Giant. They're doing a lot of damage with Freya, forcing to switch the target now onto Myflin.
And Myflin trying to get out the teleport from Dwurst into the middle lane, but overall I think that's good for Eager that they at least made it back. If a member gets picked there, then it's going to be so hard to defend their base. At the very least, it'll be a 5-on-5 at the Phoenixes.
Exactly, and now with that Fire Giant, eLevate is going to push on the solo lane side of things. They're trying to get this first Phoenix. It hasn't respawned here, but it has respawned in the dual lane, so they could transition that if they're successful here.
Freya actually jet streams into the middle there. Owen, Dwurst gets hit. He's forced to defensively ult, but Owen was actually locked inside, and he's going to have to jump away as well. Intoxicate comes out onto Zachsy and Paul, but there's no follow-up. AirCougar over the wall finds a couple shots, but Paul gets the rewind off. We've seen eLevate win every team fight he can do that. And it's Dwurst and Myflin combining, actually, to lock 3 members in.
Zachsy falls, and now I'm a monster. Dwurst is able to take out 2. Third kill onto StormyRays, and with that left side Phoenix, however, has been fallen, but 4 members falls for eLevate, and now Eager should be able to close this game out.
All they have to worry about is Owen. He's going to be backing. There are firemen, just like you said, on the left-hand side, but I think they're going to be able to end this game beforehand. 60 seconds on almost every single member of eLevate, 50 on Zachsy, but there's no way this could be stopped. This is going to be Eager actually finding this win somehow.
They're going to need to find some miracle eLevate. If they can maybe hold on to the Titan long enough for the fire waves to take out the Titan of Eager, that's what they need to do. And
I mean, it's all on to Owen though, and look at him. He's already poked out. He's focusing on Delta Marine, but I mean, Eager, they don't even care about protecting their carries anymore. They're going to go straight into the Titan room. 90%. Owen doing everything he can to stop it. 50%, and it's going to be it. Eager somehow managed to hold out against eLevate's assault, and they're going to walk away with game 1. Wow.
It was just beautiful. I think the key credit was the fact that there was 2 crucial team fights where Paul got picked playing very aggressively before the rewind came out.
And I mean, that time he did get the rewind off, but Myflin holding his cage till the end of the engagement. It's kind of funny because I think every Phoenix Siege with Fire Giant failed. both Eager and eLevate.
Yeah. Without Fire Giant, however, it was successful.
Oh, it's easy.
It was the first time. They had a 2-player advantage. Now, eLevate probably at the end should have elected to go into the dual lane instead of the soul lane, since it has respawn. It's a lot easier to take out a Phoenix that has respawn, but feeling themselves a little bit too much.
Well, we